Perfectionism is highly valued and uh we have a bias toward perfectionism versus humanism and authenticity. And I don't know if you've noticed, but our society is starting to question these things and trying to think about how to be more hunter-gatherer. And being authentic is a big theme in that as we work to decolonize our thinking. Urgency is much more valued over allowing everything to happen in its own time. Weird culture wants things to happen quickly, and we want our children to develop right now. In fact, children are often corrected for not acting like little adults. And there's some tension when they don't act like they're supposed to be acting when they are done, all cooked, finished, right? And it's like, oh, that's a reflection on me. Whereas in hunter-gatherer society, they just look at kids as kids. And when they do things, make mistakes, they do things that are not socially acceptable, they just chalk it up that that's what you expect from children. And they allow them to develop in their own time. There's no rush. Very different, right? Weird society has a bias toward proven fact. And remember that our proven facts are based on studies that reflect us versus hunter-gatherers, where there is a much, much more respect for each individual person's inner knowing. And that is connected to that sense of autonomy. Like a person can decide what is best for themselves and their own bodies. And, controlling that is not a thing because people understand that inner knowing is a thing. Independence is much more valued in weird society over interdependence. Safety is a very strong value in weird society. Preserving life is extremely important, obviously, to the point that we have something now called safetyism, where our love for safety is at the detriment to children's development. Like children in schools, for example, are not allowed to test their body's capabilities because of liability issues. And safety is so, like, in weird societies, we are the most preoccupied about safety, even though we are some of the safest communities in the world. Versus in hunter-gatherer lifestyle, you just know that risk is real. And in order to really live, you have to take risks. And so just think about your own life. Like, are there times when you didn't take risks because you wanted to stay safe, like in a career, for example, or anything, and then you felt less alive?
Mm. Something that's interesting about this particular comparison is that when humans and very much children, when they take risks, when they learn through experience what it means to be out in the world, and when they fall down and when they get hurt and when they feel that fear, they actually end up identifying what safety is for themselves and determining that they prefer it from a space informed by their own experience, by their own wisdom, as opposed to having an adult or a society that is valuing safety over risk, where a child is hearing, don't do that, stop doing that, watch out, look out, slow down,
Careful.
careful. And then there's this curiosity, there's this unmet curiosity and a developmental need to have an experiential relationship to that threat, that adventure, and it goes unmet. And so then you have a child who who is going to still want to seek that out, but without any experience and not with the parents' eyes on them, or with an appropriate group of kids who can learn together and kind of help each other out and develop an agreement, a personal culture and a family culture agreement about what safety means to them. So a child arrives at a much more sustainable practice of safety when they're allowed to take risks.
This one probably doesn't need a lot of conversation. Productivity versus enjoyment and rest. And the one story that always stands out to me is when I was talking to a mother doing some parent coaching, and she asked me right before we hung up, she said, "Okay, I know it's time to go, but tell me what's one thing I could do to be, the mother that I want to be. Just give me one tip." And I said, "Take your kids, go outside and sit on that bench that I saw was next to her garden. Sit on that bench and just look out at the garden and relax and enjoy all the work that you put into that." And she said, "That idea of that gives me so much anxiety right now." Because, we don't feel like we are allowed to just relax. We have to be in constant movement.
And just notice if you maybe relate to that. If you just now also thought, oh, I couldn't do that. That wouldn't be good for me. This is not information to judge or to have any aversion to or avoidance of. It's simply information that's going to help you suss out what your self-care is going to look like, because it's not self-care if it doesn't feel good. So if that's not your choice, then that's not your choice. But at least you start to comprise a list of, this isn't going to work for me, but what variation on this theme might you be able to say yes to?
So children, as we said before, all are born into hunter-gatherer culture. Like, not born into the culture, but they're born as hunter-gatherers. They value these things and expect these things, whereas our systems, our school systems, our medical system, our courts value weird biases. And so they are supporting you in getting you to force your children to become conditioned to be weird, while you probably feel the pull of that. You probably feel the tug of war between, because really, if you just became hunter-gatherer and did all the things that hunter-gatherers did, you would have CPS on your doorstep. Okay. Hunter-gatherers are not allowed to be, the parents that they are in our society. It's not safe for you. And go ahead.
Oh, and you might notice that children who are born as hunter-gatherers, look how they sometimes respond to the implementation or the application of systems values, right? That's when you have kids who are going, "Rawr, this doesn't feel good to me. This doesn't honor my nature."
Yeah. So really the practice is finding ways to give them the experience that is going to most, feel good to your nervous system and theirs while navigating our society. So weird biases, this list is actually tied to your worth, and your worth is dependent on how well you are able to use control, how perfect you can be, how fast you can be, how close you stay to proven fact and scientific data, how independent you are determines your worth. Your adherence to safety and your productivity, number one. That's what makes you worthy. And on the hunter-gatherer side, your worth is inherent. You're born worthy. There is nothing you can do to become more worthy or less worthy. You're simply a worthy human being. So as you look at these dialectics, and dialectics are opposing ideas, which ones stand out to you as particularly like you have energy around that, or you have conflict around that, either because you see what your child needs and the systems won't allow it, or because you yourself remember growing up and having the transition or the acculturation to weird be kind of violent and traumatic for you. Because if you go back into your childhood and think about something upsetting, 9 times out of 10, it has something to do with this acculturation that happened without a smooth transition. So think,
Yeah, and please do
Mhm.
share in the chat if you're willing to. It would be nice for us to maybe see ourselves in one another,
Mhm.
or at least be witnessed.
Yeah.
Perfectionism, productivity, and control. Yes. Interdependence versus independence. Uh-huh. Risk. Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Control, safety, fear that comes up. Right.
Hey.
So for a moment, imagine, really just for a moment, imagine how it would be for you if you knew your worth were not dependent on anything you did. This can be a bit of a leap, but allow your imagination to just take you somewhere where no matter what you did, you felt your place of belonging. You felt the love of the community. Your needs are met. You're accepted. And notice how simple or difficult it is to relate to that.
And if you can feel it, what does
Mhm.
that feel like in your body?
Mm-hmm. Maybe it brings up anxiety. Again, the sensations or the thoughts that come up when we give you these prompts are how you are going to build your self-care model. That's your personal customized approach to honoring your needs in real time.